which one is which one is worse? You seeing your hand being dry and you getting infection and ending your life in a short possible time. Which one? So when you look at it, you put it on that scale of preference, and of course you can answer that question and you know the one that is more important. So washing hands cannot be overemphasized. It is important because hand washing is one, germs from the hands is one of the, from statistics from a Center for Disease Control. It's hand washing, like I said the other day, people have lost their lives, people have contacted infection, and germs from the hands is about 90% or 70% rather, sorry, not 90% cause of infection. So proper use of your PPE, like we are going to see, proper way when we are having the practicals of how to don and doff gloves, how to wear it properly, how to wear your gowns, and to remove your gowns, your mask, your eye protection. All these things are non-negotiable. You cannot even negotiate. It's important for both your own safety and for the safety of your patient. So we also have patient mobilities and transfer. We are talking about a safety procedures now. Mobility and transfer. Never you, like we wanted to say, like I said, that this course is actually rich, is actually broad, is actually packed, because you are going to learn. Like we normally don't even do first aid, but I have made it a point of duty to ensure that when we are having the practicals, I'll try to see how we squeeze time, because you have to have a touch of first aid. So now, before you attempt to carry anybody, you have to weigh the load. You have to weigh, you want to attempt to assist a person that is very fat and you are just a slim person, you should consider your weight. I want to help this person. How am I going to do? Is this something I can do? Do I need to call for help? Do I need to report to the in charge? These are things you need to know, because safety is paramount in our everyday life. It's very important. So for you to avoid injury, you have to be safety conscious. Use the proper body mechanics and assistive devices, the things you need to use, your belt, your gates, your transfer equipment, everything you have to use and learn as well how to use it effectively. Very important. Then for the bed technique, how to maybe change beddings when the patient is still on the bed. We are going to see it, how to move a patient when you don't have edge that is so fat. How do you want to transfer her? How do you want to help her? What do you do in order not to affect your waist? Because even as CNS, to your health important. You are a caregiver, you are a healthcare practitioner, so you shouldn't also lose guard of the fact that you need to be healthy, and we need more people to be healthy to be able to take care of the vulnerable people. So even as you are doing the proper techniques to ensure that you don't bring any harm to yourself. So we also have fire and safety. We talked about mobility and preparedness. Now, at this point, I would like to pause. At this point, I would like to pause and say something. I am not trying to advertise MJB Management and Integrated Service here. I'm not trying to do any, but I want to, at this point, let you know something, that it is very, very important. It is 100% important, especially if you want to go out of the shores of Nigeria, maybe outside, to practice the certified nurse assistant, not only outside, even if it is in Nigeria. You need to have the basic first aid knowledge. You need to have the CPR. You need to know how to carry out CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. You need to know how to use the AED. You need to know all these things, because they come in handy when there are emergencies or when there is an emergency. So if you have the CNA certificate and you don't have another health backing, I don't know how to put it, that's another health backing or other health that will help you boost your portfolio, that will help it really your employer or anyone that needs your services to really know that you really know your onions, and you know you are prepared, in short, for anywhere you are prepared. You need to look at that if you don't have it. So like this fire safety, we are talking about an emergency response. It is important that you know how to handle emergencies. Familiarize yourself with the facility fire evacuation plans and emergency procedures in every setting. in every aspect. And when there is a fire, this is what you do. When you hear this alarm, it signifies the alarm. You know what is happening in the facility that you are at that time. These are things you need to know as a certified nurse assistant. You need to know the fire exits, you need to know the fire alarms and how they sound. And above all, I advise every CNA to always know how to use a fire extinguisher. It is important. It is important. There are certain knowledge. There are certain knowledge rather that you have that you may just think that money. I just want to throw money away. But at the end of the day, I tell you that it will come handy. There's a very thin line between life and death. So that when you have to act fast, the lack of knowledge, ignorance can cost anyone something very serious. That's why I tell people, get the knowledge as much as possible, acquire all the knowledge that you can acquire, because not only using it to get a job, maybe to travel to the moon or travel to the sun, for your own personal safety, you need to have certain compact form of knowledge that help you to handle safety and emergency, to make you prepared for this. So familiarize yourself with the facility wherever you work, know their locations, their fire alarms, extinguishers, and know where they are. We've had a situation now, I want to just bring this quickly. We've had a situation whereby there was something that actually happened. Because when things happen, because people lack the right knowledge, there is always confusion and pandemonium. Take, for instance, God forbid, we don't pray anything bad, maybe in your house or in your setting, something happens now. Just ask yourself, I am a certified nurse assistant. By virtue of that, I'm a nurse and I'm aspiring to be a nurse. Okay, something happens. What do I do? Maybe, perhaps maybe in the kitchen, maybe you are chopping vegetables and you just cut your hand. And you're like, everybody's scared. Nobody knows what to do. You don't know what to do, whether to use water, whether to jump and get oil, whether there's confusion. Okay, that's even in a small setting, like in a home. Imagine maybe in a place, maybe like a school, or in an environment where maybe there is in an accident, or maybe in a church, someone slumps, like we've had issues of once in a while or so in the news, someone slumming on the pulpit and something like that. In such a situation, there is so much pandemonium because people run to the left, people run to the right, people are scattered. There is so much confusion, but it just takes a person that has the right knowledge to do what he or she has to do at the nick of time to rescue that situation before the paramedics actually arrive. So all the person needs to do, if it's a knowledgeable person, knows that immediately I check for the vitals, immediately the pulse, the next thing I have to do is to swing into action and carry out cardiopulmonary resuscitation on that person while I call for help. You see that just that act can make that person continue to hold on to the thread of life before the arrival of the medical practitioner or the paramedics. So you see, it is very, very important. Knowledge, no knowledge is wasted. So we have workplaces like we're going around for rounds once, or they don't even know how to use it. They don't know how to use fire extinguishers that are added knowledge, added advantage to you. I'm not saying that it's a duty of a CNA, but I'm saying that it is an added advantage to you that would help you, that will put you higher above your mates, that will give you that edge that you really need to have. So yes, having said that, pardon me, because I really like talking. Like I said, we are almost done. This is just about almost the last slide. So now, responding to medical emergencies, be alert and aware of any sudden change in your patient's condition. Important. Check your patients, understand how they are feeling, check them, smile, for God's sake. I always tell CNAs, I always tell people in the healthcare setting, please always be amiable. Have this amiable disposition, because you can have a kind of disposition that you make someone ordinarily not to be able to talk to you, to come close to you, because you already have that disposition. So I tell people that try to loosen up, be a little bit to the left, in as much as the world is bad, be a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, and then see how to, because especially if you're a CNA, you have to have this disposition that will make any patient to be able to reach out to you. But maybe when you frown, every time your face is always in a contented form, you are always angry, you are always aggressive toward remembering one thing or the other, or you're always transferring one aggression from one place to another, it makes these people to call. There are times you walk into a patient's room And because the patient has already built in the mind, has seen the physiognomy of your face and knows how you are, the patients can even react in a different way and become a problem to you, because you'll be the one suffer at the end of the day. Will now begin to throw tantrums, and so as a certified nurse assistant, we have to like put a smile on your face. You are doing a humanitarian work. You are doing something close to. You are doing what you have actually found yourself in. If it gives you joy to see smiles on the faces of your patients, it gives you joy to see how far the impact that you have created in their lives has gone. You see them happy. It's something that will make you, so you smile and you are happy at all times. That's what I tell anybody in the health sector. Don't bottle things up, loosen up, be happy, be compassionate towards people, feel their pain, connect with them. These are things that are very important. So when there is an emergency, notify the nurse, you're in charge. Put pieces together. Make sure not understanding what you're actually doing. Make sure you understand the situation. Give emotional support. Provide basic life support. That's another very important training. Remember, I talked about CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. I talked about basic life support because it's going to teach you what to do in terms when you have emergencies. These are very important trainings for anyone that is in the healthcare field. You must be certified. You must have your CPR, first aid, AED certifications. That's to say that so that if something happens, for instance, something happens, even if it is not in your workplace, maybe if it is in your house, something happens, you don't need to start immediately. You call for help, because that's the first thing to do in any situation. Call for help. While you call for help, you are rendering first aid. First aid is never the final treatment, but you are giving that first aid to make the person hold on to the thread of life until when paramedics will actually arrive. So that is it. So when you already have these things in your fingertip, it would help you to function effectively. Any situation, you can be with your client now, maybe talking with your client, maybe all of a sudden something just happens and you are confused. It's going to be a big shame that you don't actually know what to do. You can't get pieces together as a person in a health team. It's going to be a disgrace. I permit me to use that word, because it will show glaringly that you don't know your onion. So it is always good to be well equipped. You have to have your basic life support as certification. You have to have your CPR, any of it. It doesn't have to be all. You have to have your CPR, and you have to, very importantly as well, have your mental health awareness certificate. Thank God for MJB, they run those trainings. And not only MJB, we have other, you can go online and do your research. It doesn't have to be MJB, but make sure that any certification you go to get, because there are a whole lot, thousands and one there in the internet, make sure you are sure that they are actually certified. That's what I tell people, because anything goes. So make sure that they are globally recognized, certified, because if not, you would have to spend money to follow due process and do the right thing. So practically, this is just what we need to do. It is important we know how to respond when there is an emergency. Very, very, very important. I cannot overemphasize that point. And how best can we respond? It is when we have the right knowledge. It's when we have the right certifications. It's when we know exactly what to do and not to be confused when there is an emergency. This is very, very important. So let's see what we have. I think that's the last slide for the evening, if I am not mistaken. Okay. All right, before I get to the video, there is another video that is just about, I think, 10 minutes before we call it a day. Thank God I'm going to my promise. We may not even get to 8 o'clock. So today. So reporting and documentation is also one of the safety procedures. You have to report any emergency, safety incidents, injuries, and emergencies. Please report. I worked so many years ago. I worked in a workplace where people were afraid to report incidences because they felt that when you report an incident that when we're not able to, maybe there is an incident and you report that, it's going to count against you. This is our work now, how it happens in the work field. They feel that maybe you were about trying to maybe move a crane or move something and you had an injury, you had an accident, and your hand, they prefer to hide it. Yes, they prefer to hide it. They will not report it. Why? Because they are feeling that when they do this report is going to count against them. Yes, maybe, but the fact is that it's not about counting against you. It's about the lessons that others will learn from your report. So others will know that, okay, if I hold the handle like this, it's not right. It's because someone held the handle like this. This is what happened. And so let's change it and hold the handle like this. It makes people to learn. So it is important that when your patient has any incidents or injuries or emergencies, anything like that, document effectively. And then to cap it all, participate actively in safety training and drills to maintain preparedness. Participate actively because there are always safety drills. There are always safety training drills. There are drills, you know, and when these drills help you to know that when eventually there's actually this kind of emergency, everybody will align. You shouldn't wait when there's an emergency that someone will say, what am I supposed to Okay, so sorry about that break. Thank God we have gotten to the end, and the network has tried to be coming now. Thank God it has helped me to talk all this talk that I've been talking. So summarily, finally, we have some questions that I would want you to try when you get the slides. I don't want us to try it here. I want you to just take your time, and maybe when we have the next lesson class, we are going to see how to go about it. But briefly, I want you to just take a look. Let's see if this would be better. I would need you to tell me if this would be better. I actually had 2 videos to play for you today to make you learn. The first one was to learn skills, patient care skills, how you can handle even the most difficult patients. Please, are we together? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so now this one is just brief. It's just to make you relax, you know, because we are in the healthcare and we are in the caregiving as a field. So I just want you to relax, just take a break, lean on your chair. We still have time. And then the next 10 minutes, I want to know how this video is. If this one is much better, if it is not, then I'll leave it. Then you have to go and watch it for now. So, but this is the very last slide. I want to us. So let's see. That's the last slide. Let's get to it, and I'll need to know and see if
Not too much stew.
Okay. Whoever is talking about stew, you are making me a little bit hungry at this point. You can mute. Thank you. So don't let me get too hungry. Just all right. Let's see this. I need to know if it's best. If we have challenges, then
it's a little stew.
I may have to send it slide. But let me just see. It's fun for us to just watch it. Okay, so let's go. Okay, just getting there. All right.
Joanne, when you know this knife, I don't know what it's smelling of. It's smelling of something. Please let me wash it again. It's smelling.
Okay, please. I need to
Onion,
crave
either
your
onion
note.
or something.
Let me just give me a second. Let me change the network provider because I want us to
What
do this video.
is
It's just
it?
a 10-minute video. Change the network provider.
Not too much.
Sorry about that. I wanted to see if I could change. I've just changed my network provider to Airtel from MTN. Let's just see whether we'll be able to view the slide. Since we have time, this is actually the last point of call for today. So we still have a little. Okay, so let's get there. Wow. Okay, so I don't know if network permitted us, so but I'm going to have the slides like I told you. Tomorrow we are going to have the slide when the network is, but practically the summary of that is, before I say that, and I actually was able to see that. I don't know if to like hear. Were we able to see what played out?
Partially.
Okay, partially, fine. All right, so I don't know, it's not really my fault. We know how the weather is. I had to change from MTN to Airtel.
Wasn't so clear because of the network.
Okay, so primarily what that video was telling us is that the space of time, that's why I insisted that you have to have a health-related trainings. When there is an emergency, you need the right knowledge. You need to act. Like that man just moving, and decided to administer CPR immediately for him. And thank God, with the CPR, with the AED, the use of the automated external defibrillator, they were able to pump his heart back to normal, and then the frequency of the heart now started normalized, and he came back to consciousness. So what am I saying? It is important for us to learn these things. If we want to go higher in the hierarchy, move higher in the health sector, if we work as a certified nurse assistant.
Sorry, ma, I don't know. Somebody is not muted, and the sound coming from that person is interfering a lot.
That's not good. That's not good. When we have
so please, can you mute if you are not talking? Thank you.
Okay. Okay, let's see if MJB has given me the rights to do that. Cause
yeah, maybe the person has muted now.
Thank you. Please. So as I was saying that the video, we have come to the end of today's training. So I just want to say again, I want to emphasize, since that noise obstructed us when I was talking, because people that pass through BCC UK, Blessed Cosmopolitan College UK, any training you have from MJB Management, which is their Nigerian provider, or Andy Smart Solutions is also their Nigerian provider, you can be rest assured that we would give you, would guide you, would tell you everything you need to know to function efficiently in anywhere you find yourself in any location. So it is important. We cannot overemphasize the need for any certified nurse assistant not to know CPR. In fact, if something happens and you are not able to carry out CPR and someone knows that you're in the health field, it's a very big slap on your face, or on your faces. So these are some of the things that we need. So generally, as a certified nurse assistant, is a rewarding job. Like I want to say, to summarize everything we have done, it's a rewarding job. But once you put on your you have the passion. Like I thank God, so many people responded by saying they just wanted to veer into the health setting because they have passion for humans. Like they have the passion, they are passionate about it. And I love to hear those things, because I know one very important thing that you need to function well in the health setting is passion. Without passion, anything you don't do with passion in life, you can never succeed in it. So if you have the passion, and if you want to serve humanity, if you don't like to see people suffering, if you don't like to see people pained, then you have to. Like I knew early enough that it was just my calling. It was just where I needed to be in the health sector. I started first by going through first aid, becoming an international, becoming a member of International Red Cross Society, and all that. Because why? Because I needed to know, why are people suffering? I needed to see how best I hate to see someone in pain. So when you follow all those things, it will be a guiding principle. No matter where you find yourself, no matter the hospital, no matter the individual, just know that if you are determined to actually function effectively, to move with passion, you can break any barrier to ensure that you actually serve humanity, which is your purpose and your calling. So that having said, we are done for today. I would like to ask, is there any question or any contribution? This is just the time before I hand over to MJB, or you may wish to say anything. The floor is open. I love to hear people contribute, because it makes me happy. It makes me know that, yes, I'm actually functioning in this particular health setting that have decided to go into. So the floor is open for any suggestion, any question, any contribution, or any other thing. Thank you so much. And thank you for being with me all this while. Yes, Hope, your hand is raised. You can go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I have a question.
Okay. Hope,
I have
go
a
ahead.
case scenario question I would like to ask, and I need answer to it.
All right.
For example,
Right.
you are working in a mental health facility and you create all your much time, work on a patient, okay, let's say patient with a aggression tendency, and everyone know that he's very aggressive, especially when he has this kind of mood swing. Create all your time and days to work on him or her, and he's okay. Then one day you just walking back there to the facility, you just saw him depressed and saw bruises on his face. Then you ask, what is the problem? Why are you having all these bruises on your face? What is the problem? And he couldn't be able to talk. You see that the mood has changed at that moment. Then you ask the team workers, what is the problem? What happened like this? And they said he was beaten. They beat him up because he was very stubborn. Being a satisfied nurse assistant, in this case, what will you do?
I hope that is a very funny scenario. Really, as in really beaten, someone beaten. Well, I don't know, because there are certain ethics, like we said, and professionalism when you are dealing with people, and empathy is involved. If you are dealing with someone that has mental issues. Now, like I said, the most important thing, it is very wrong in the first instance for you to beat up a person because he's stubborn. A person that you know, without being told, you know that this person is stubborn because of the illness that the person has. That's why I keep emphasizing this, that when we are dealing with patients, we should be able to draw a line between the individuality of that person and the illness the person is having. You understand? So if a person is mental, I don't know the kind of, maybe has mental issues, it's very wrong in the first place for the person to be beaten. It is wrong. I don't know. I stand to be corrected because I'm not a, in that line, I'm not a specialist to know what is actually done firsthand there. But it's a very big no for me, for the person to be beaten. And as a certified nurse assistant, in this case, it is within your ethics, your professional ethics. Remember, we talked about consequences-based ethics. Good. You may not be the one taking care of that person, but it is in your duty to ensure that when you see such things that are out of the ordinary, that is not right, like I said, that is very wrong for you to beat up a person that has mental challenge. Because why are you beating up the person? The person is not even okay. So you're beating up the person. Are you helping to alleviate the suffering, or you are compounding the issue? So it's even wrong. There are other measures, there are other strategies you can use to handle a person that is actually has mental issues. If you study, because you have to do a lot of study when if you're a psychiatric a nurse like that, or you're in that field, you have to do a lot of researches where you get to learn many ways that you can handle these issues. But as a certified nurse assistant, like I told you, you cannot on your own. If it may be the medical director that moves and sees that in his own hierarchy and capacity, he'll be able to do what he needs to do. But you, being that you have the first-hand information, as you have first-hand knowledge of what is actually happening, it is in your place, your duty to report to your in-charge nurse, report to the next hierarchy, that's maybe your supervisor, your immediate boss, report, because that is abuse. That is considered abuse. And so that they will know how to go about it. The right things will be done, and the people involved will be brought to book. It's a no, it's a very big no for me. The wrong thing to even do. I don't know if for you to beat up a person that is mental. I don't even know how I'm feeling right now as I'm hearing this from you. But that is the right thing to do. A certified nurse assistant, your hands are tied. Let me use that word in a layman's language. Your hands are tied. So what you can do is you have to report, because if you don't report, it has the implication you are going against your ethics. So, but your ethics permits you to report to the next hierarchy of power authority, so that they can do something about that particular situation. You cannot do anything. You cannot go and force those people and say, oh, don't beat, or you do. No, because that's not in your duty. So you need to report to the authority that will handle it judiciously. So I don't know if that's okay. My response has answered you.
Okay, thank you, ma. Thank you.
You're welcome. 2 other hands raised. Okay, and we see the 2 people. Isaac, Mr. Isaac Bar, your hand is raised. Can you ask your question? No, we are looking at 8 o'clock, so we still have some time before we leave. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, actually, I don't have a question. All I want to say is thank you, and most especially for us to learn and also know today that as a CNA is very unethical to disclose any medical report to your patient, but rather or instead report to your manager or any RN over there. On behalf of my colleagues, I would like to pray for you that God should continue to protect you and the whole the board
MJB
management
management and Andy Smart. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, come on.
that
Thank
we may see next week again. Okay, for another edition of the studies. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Isaac. I thank you. Amen. A very big amen to your prayers. Thank you so much. I need it to stay, to keep moving. Thank you. Who else has a question? Mr. Martha.
Okay.
Martha.
Yeah, I have.
Ask a question.
Okay. Good evening once again. My question is, you talked about how giving the patient, making him feel that okay, he's still respected, right? And then you also said that if there are things that the patient can do on their own, we should allow them to do it. So let's assume that you see a patient that is trying to do something that he feels that it's something that he can do by himself. That's what he feels. But you know from your end that this thing that this person is doing is not good. It's going to harm him. What do you do in such situation?
Okay.
Especially when you're trying to help the person. Especially when you're trying to help the person and the person says, leave me alone, I can do it. I know I can do it, or something like that. How do you go about that?
Okay. Now, in terms of helping a person, I want to say that the reason I said allow as much as possible for your client to do what he or she can do is so that you don't absolutely take away the control from the person. Now, there are some situations like the situation you just portrayed. You see that a person is trying to do something. You as a CNA, you know the person is not able to do that thing, and the person is struggling to do that thing. Then you want to help the person to do it, and the person is maybe not just bulging or just not giving in because of the line of your duty. Because of we are talking about being a certified nurse assistant, in the line of your duty, you have to try to make that person understand that he or she is not able to do this thing. Oh, I can see you are struggling with this. Would you need any help? Would you need me to assist you? If he says no, and you see that in the course of him doing that thing, he's not able to do it, then you have to reach out for your higher, that's a higher authority in it, because the thing you can easily do on a very fine day is maybe, oh, you cannot do this thing, give it to me. Or on a fine day, if you are dealing with, give it to me, you can't do this thing, shift or move away, let me carry it for you. This thing you cannot do, and you are doing as if you can do, and so on and so forth. Yes, that's ordinary, that's the normal expression of a person in a normal setting. But in this case, this person is feeling that he wants to do. There's a reason why the person is still feeling, I want to do that thing. That's why I want us to always look at the person is feeling that I can do this thing. I am capable of doing this thing. I am still a human being, regardless of what is happening to me. I still have energy. I can still carry this thing, or I can still do this thing. Why are you making it seem as if I cannot? Leave me alone. I can do it. So, but as you are saying, in the course of you seeing that he's not able to do that thing, you just use wisdom. You reach out to your in charge, these higher people, because there are things you cannot do. These people will know how to use the techniques that will be able to to bring down that particular aggression that the person has. When we get to dementia skill is one of the skills we have in this training. When we get there, we are going to see ways we can systematically cue a patient from disabuse a patient's mind or systematically cue a person from getting angry or something like that. I don't know how to explain it. So that's practically the answer to that question. You cannot superimpose or collect it by force or do anything that shows. No, it's considered abuse because the patient actually has his or her own rights to independence and to have his or her own friends and to choose how he wants to do things. So that's where ethical dilemma they will talk. Sometimes you have such scenarios, and the best way is to reach out to the authority so that something can be done. They will now use the necessary techniques or try to remove his mind. If it's a dementia patient, they'll try to cue his mind out of that particular activity at that particular time. So when his mind is able to leave that place, it's easier to handle it. There are methods and there are techniques that we go about these things. Martha, I don't know if that is okay, if I've been able to answer you to an extent. Hello, Martha.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much. That's fine.
Okay, you're welcome. So Hyacinth, your hand is raised. I think that's the last hand before I hand over because it's 7:53 and I keep to my promises whenever I make any. So Hyacinth, please. Hyacinth's iPhone. I don't know who.
Good evening. Is Kennedy here? This Hyacinth put me in trouble.
Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy, have I really heard your voice today? I've not heard your voice at all today, so I'm wondering why. Okay, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I had to switch
network.
Yeah, just a little addition. Our colleague that raised the issue of a mentally challenged person being, and in bruises. You see, whether you want to practice here or outside, but even gets more tricky outside because there are three key things as a CNA, as a caregiver, even as a doctor. There are three things that they don't joke with vulnerable. You see, abuse, inadvantage, neglecting. You can jail. Apart from losing your license, you can actually go to jail. You can actually be prosecuted. You must, if you see bruise on any of your clients for whatever, even if you don't take care of that client, it behooves on you to make sure that that is recorded.
Correct. Reports. If
it happens to you directly, if it's a client that you take care of, you must report. You don't necessarily need to confront anybody, but you put it in your report for that day that you notice this and that. Because if you don't, it fire on you.
It will count against you. Yeah, count against you. That's right.
If there's a spot check and they see that and it's not in any of your reports,
you are either in for it.
Or even be sacked.
That's correct.
You understand? No matter how that bruise came about, the right thing to do is that
report, you document
and put your own report. You're not going to confront anybody. You understand? Especially when it has to do with pediatric nursing, because that's one of the most tricky part of nursing, because you're dealing with people who are not stable in up,
nursing,
and
correct.
up and on, all of sick patients, and then and dementia. Those are very tricky areas, especially when you're the patient is non-verbal. So it puts more responsibility on you as the CNA to be able to think for yourself, and you think for that patient, and you will also have to transmit what you think that patient feels to other levels of medical care.
Authority,
That's just my
wow. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Thank you. That's beautiful. You've added to what we already talked about. Thank you so very much for putting the nail on it, on everything we have said. So when it comes to vulnerable people, they are very particular about it, and you have to report. Like I said yesterday, everything about CNA report. Make sure the authorities know about it. Thank you so much. We still have Martha, are you raising your hand all over again, or is the first time I saw your hand raised?
No, I want to ask a question. Okay, right?
All times, where there is nothing and there is a serious emergency, I don't really think that you really have to have a very serious situation to look for how or to think about the mouth to mouth, whether you'll be able to do. I understand the angle you are going to, for safety reasons, like we talked about.
Okay, thank you very much.
You have to learn how to plant.
The first and the second day. First day, second day.
Well, they told you Jenny.
Actually, thank you for last week.
Good morning, sir. Where is Jenny? I teacher said I should ask of her.
God, I've reached the end. MJB management. MJB.
Doctor, the meeting is still on. We're waiting for you. We're waiting for you.
Sorry, I got lost. The network just turned me and I don't know what happened, but I'm back. So primarily what I'm saying, I have concluded it to thank everyone for the patience and for flowing. I'm happier today. Yesterday, I was not too happy because network played a very tricky one. So please, I want to crave your indulgence. Next week, we are going to have the next session on Wednesday, and then Thursday is going to be